So nice and short and sweet with that one. Moving on to topic 3 for today. I want to talk some Apex Legends with you guys. We're in the midst of Season 8 right now, and I just want to talk about my love for this game. It just keeps getting better. I've played it on stream a bunch, here and there, and played it offline a whole lot too. And now at this point, it's been fun having more people try it out, whether it be Papa Griff, whether it be Electric Wizrobe, whether it be Pancake, whoever. Like trying this game out and actually liking it. And it just makes me happy when, like, any game really you recommend, or a movie or whatever it is, and somebody was like, oh yeah, this was really good, like actually enjoying it. So it's been a blast having those conversations with those guys. And it sounds weird, but being an educator, or like being someone that can answer questions that they may have about either gameplay mechanics or characters or abilities or whatever, it's just nice to be able to share that, share this thing that I love and share it with other people. And like, they want to know more about it. Why not? Yeah, that's great. So along with this, with more people playing it that I know and getting excited about it, it's kind of, I'm thinking more and more about Apex. I joked about it on stream earlier today, but we've already played almost the same amount of games as last season within 4 weeks that we played in a 12-week season in Season 7. And in this game, like I said, I've loved it from the start. I've definitely been like in and out in certain seasons. I played a lot when the game dropped in Season 1. Season 2, I think I played one match. I kind of fell out. Same with Season 3. Got me back a little bit, but Season 4 was the big one. I don't know specifically what it was that kind of like snatched me up. It wasn't Revenant per se, the character. I think it might have been their how they implemented a battle pass and actual things to do and work towards in this game. That was something that Fortnite always had going for it, was those challenges and those objectives. Like, I'm not really good at BRs or battle royales, and like, I'm never going to win a solo mode or win a duos, but having this alternative of like, I can unlock cool costumes, I can unlock emotes, I can unlock sprays for my gun, the skins, like having those things to work for, even if you're not winning, you still feel like you're accomplishing things, and that little check mark per se of a weekly challenge, of a daily challenge, whatever it is. So I think that was maybe what it was missing early on, is it didn't have that battle pass initially. So maybe that was what it was in Season 4, of like realizing, oh shit, I have things that I can accomplish here and do, and if I have a good match, great. If I don't, at least I'm working towards these things, and it's fun. The gameplay loop is fun. The characters, they're all unique and they have fun abilities. The gameplay feels smooth and runs well, whether it's the shooting, whether it's the movement and the freedom of that, and how you're able to, slide or climb or do this, do that. Like, it just makes it all fun and adds to the experience. So yeah, since Season 4, I would say I've been definitely more hardcore and invested into it and putting a lot of hours behind it. It was always another thing too, of like I mentioned, the challenging or unlocking the things through the challenges of unlocking the next legend. I was never in a position where I had played enough to have the new legend right off the bat. It was always, I would get them right at the tail end and then finally be able to play with them and experience them. So it was that thing of working towards. And recently with Season 6, I started getting ahead of that curve. Just with the leveling and how you get the currency, it got at a slower rate as you played the game more. But now I'm at a safe place where I can get the legend immediately off the bat, just using legend tokens and not buying them per se with real cash. But we're in a good place now where I'm able to do that, and you feel a little bit more in the know or in the moment with playing the character right off the bat, rather than like, oh yeah, I hear all these things about this character, but I have no experience with it because I don't have them. So it's been fun, like playing around with Loba when she shows up, or playing with Rampart, or playing with Fuse now, who's fantastic. He's a good character that I really enjoy. So it's fun being part of that in real time, instead of at the end of the season where everybody's already experimented with it and it's like, this legend's shit, this legend's great, whatever it is. So yeah, I think that was a big thing that got me back into it. And now it's a new, not inspiration, but a new incentive to like play, and like a new energy put into me of like why I'm more interested in this game than ever before is like other people playing it, friends that want to play. I had that in the beginning with season 1, and like Dio would play and Billy would play and Nolan would play, but it didn't hook with them fully, and they went on to play different stuff. Like Billy was more Warzone, Call of Duty, and Blackout, like, which is fine. It was a good game, but just wasn't this one. So having people actually play it now and enjoy it, it's like, oh shit, once again, new energy, new interest in it. So it's been a blast playing with those guys. And like I said, the results don't matter. Like if we win, we win. We've won, I think, once with the new team, which is fine. But like we do pretty consistently in placement. And then other than that, it's just fun, once again, explaining things and being that educator, or that, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's been interesting fun sharing that information and love of the game with others that are also finding interest in it. Through this newfound love of Apex, obviously I'm playing a lot more. We're crushing the weekly challenges, but I've also gone out to kind of look into learning more about Apex. Not necessarily like the super nitty gritty details of the meta, or like, oh, this is good ranked and this is good competitive, but more interested in different content and people who focus on it. So I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple people I've checked out. First one's going to be CLG I'm Madness. CLG is the team. I'm Madness is the user that I'm shouting out. He's a big competitive player, plays a lot of Wraith, and he's a very entertaining personality. I learned about him through the Achievement Hunter community. Alfredo Diaz has had him on a couple different content, whether it's Among Us, I think is the main one. And he was just a very entertaining person, individual, so I started watching more of his content with Apex. And man, those guys go hard. They are very, very good at what they do with the competitive scene in ALGS. I think they won a few times. It's their big Apex competition. I think they won one recently. But it's been interesting watching the tournaments and watching the streams that he's participated in and seeing like, oh shit, okay, the R99 is a really good gun. The Mastiff is a really good shotgun that actually has a lot more range than you would think. And learning like this game is very fast paced and not really how we play it, where it's sniper based and like take your time. You can play it that way, but if you're going to get in the competitive scene or the rank scene, like it seems like these close range encounters are the way to go, which not necessarily for me. I've thought about ranked here and there. I've played a little bit in previous seasons, but it's just interesting to know like, oh, okay, this is the competitive meta, I guess you could say, or the competitive gameplay style. And comparing it to how we play, where it's more slow paced, more snipers, which is fine and it works for us. Like we get our damage output there. But then also learning like Wraith's a really good competitive character. Gibraltar, who I never really particularly cared for competitively, is used quite a lot, and that bubble shield is very important. Learning that Mirage is apparently the worst character and does not have a lot of strengths with their character, with him, along with Rampart. They're very on the bottom, it seems. But yeah, shout out to him. He's putting out a lot of good content out there and a lot of good energy. So I've been watching him. And then also I kind of wanted to see if there was a podcast specifically about Apex just to listen to while I was at work. And sure enough, there is. I've started listening to a podcast called the Third Party Podcast. It's hosted by Shay and Henry, and they do a fantastic job of really breaking things down, either about a legend or about guns and damage output, if you really want to know the nitty gritty. But then they also just talk about a lot of their own gameplay and experiences, along with maps and how to get better with them, or certain legends, or news that's coming up and updates and leaks, or whether it's patch notes. Like they really do a good job of compiling all this information that's put out there and making it a very nice bite-sized piece of info for everybody to kind of learn from, or hear about, which is nice. So I appreciate their content as well. So yeah, shout out to those guys. But it's been interesting diving more into the game that way and learning more about it. But yeah, the game overall is just very fun. I mentioned the gameplay loop. It's just very entertaining. It's never been... There's been frustrating games for sure where it's a hot drop and like, oh, this is the worst area we could be dropping right now. I'm going to die in 30 seconds just because there's so many people and somebody's going to grab a gun before me and whatever it is. But it's never been like, I'm mad at this game for this reason. It's never been a certain legend is too powerful. I've always felt that they do a very good job. Respawn does a very good job of balancing all their characters. I've never felt like, oh, Lifeline's too strong or Wraith's too strong or this person has this ability that just breaks everything. I always see a wide variety of the character cast, roster rather. Always see a wide variety of them, and then I've never had like a particular issue in anybody. Like it's like, oh, there's this character. Okay, I got to be aware of X ability or Y ability or whatever it is. And you change what you're doing, but it's never felt like it's unfair or unbalanced, if that makes sense. And I think that's a big reason of why I keep playing this game is when I lose, it's because, oh, firefight just didn't go my way. Okay, hop back into it. Let's do it again. And it's never felt like a chore or like it's dragging on, if that makes sense. It's always like, all right, let's play it again. Let's just keep going. Let's run it back. And yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game that I can just pop in, whether it is playing with the guys or whether it's dropping in solo, and listen to another stream or whatever it is. It's just a fun waste of time to dive into and keep playing. And I'm looking forward to what's coming up in the future seasons. I'm looking forward more to the Legends. Like I said, I've gotten more interested with the Legends as I'm playing them at their release. Fuse has been a lot of fun. I haven't played a lot of Rampart from Season 7, but I'm learning more about like hopping around to different Legends. Usually I would only play Bloodhound. That was my main, but playing more characters, like playing Watson, getting invested with her, playing Loba, getting invested in her playstyle, a little bit of Octane, a little bit of Revenant, a little bit of, whoever. It's been fun trying out these different characters and learning more about them. So yeah, I'm excited what they're going to do from next season and on, and how they're going to support this game. I'm glad they're still supporting this game after 2 years, which they celebrated recently. And also, it's been fun to see all of the changes. Recently, I went to YouTube and just kind of searched like if anybody had like a history kind of video of like changes that had happened from the game's launch. And shout out to GameSpot. They had 2 really good videos, one of year 1's progression and one of year 2's progression up to this point. And it was kind of like a little fun nostalgia trip. I mean, it could be interesting for anybody. I highly recommend you guys check it out, of just hearing like how the game has changed and evolved since the beginning. But as someone who's played most of the seasons, like being like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Shields used to just be normal, but now they got changed at like season 5 to all Evo shields, so they upgrade as you do damage. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about Evo shields originally, but now I'm like, oh, this is normal and this is good because it makes your progression mean something. And then also learning like how the map has changed. Like, oh, the Skull Town was a piece of shit and everybody landed there, but now it's been replaced by this, and all this meadow is broken. And like I mentioned, they didn't have the battle pass originally. So it's been a fun little nostalgia trip of like relearning or being like, oh, remembering all these things that happened in the past, and just kind of reminiscing, I guess you could say, on it. And one last thing about Apex before I wrap up today. They have a lot of lore. They invest in their story. If you guys have played Titanfall at all, this is tied into the Titanfall universe, which Respawn Entertainment is known for. So it's interesting to learn more about that and how it ties into the universe, but also they really dive deep in their characters. Not necessarily in the game. You kind of get it season per season with the treasure packs and how they do the comics, or I think it was season 5, they did the in-game mode where it was PvE, player versus environment, which was great. You learn more about the characters there, but outside of the game as well, like there's a lot of things that you can learn from if you really want to get invested with the characters and the stories that are going on, whether it's the character reveal trailers like Loba and Revenant's history. is really cool to see if you watch those trailers. And then along with like Pathfinder they made a book about Pathfinder's quest and how his origins all came out. And then there's other things called Tales from the I think it's Tales. No, that may be Tales of the Borderlands. I'm mixing it up. What am I thinking of? The battle. I don't know. It explains like more lore with the characters. Like Watson, her dad is the one who designed the bubble that comes in the ring. Early on in the game, Crypto was like this big hacker reveal in the first 3 seasons of like messing with the playing field, and that's like why the dragon wyvern things are flying around now, because he hacked into the system and allowed wildlife back in. He's got some story with his sister being missing. Fuse has story about like why his arm's missing and the company he's dealing with in there. And so it's been really unique and interesting to see the different story elements that they're really diving into with this battle royale, because I mean, Fortnite's doing it now, but most battle royales is just drop, shoot, win, yay, hopefully, or die. It's cool to see the investment in the story of these characters and the lore, even if there isn't that story mode. But I think it makes it a little bit more intriguing and interesting, especially when a new season comes along. You're trying to be like, okay, so how does this connect to this person? Oh, they have history with this person. How's that going to interact with their abilities or interact with their lore? And am I going to get more invested in this character because of it? So, yeah, just wanted to gush about Apex Legends a little bit. It's always fun to talk Apex Legends. It's always fun to play Apex Legends, and I'm always looking forward to playing more Apex Legends. I'll probably be playing tonight as this video renders and stuff. It's just been a blast. Papa Griff says, glad to be a part of the squad while I slow burn to grow my techniques and abilities. Hopefully one day I'll be able to contribute more. I have to say the Discord is a huge benefit of the play, both that I can hear you in real time, I can offer as I see fit to possibly help you or others in the squad. It's way more enjoyable to play shooter with a partner or partners. Gives me a puncher's chance every game that I wouldn't ordinarily have. For sure. Absolutely. And that's another aspect of this game that is fantastic. Not necessarily a Discord aspect, but the pinging system that this game has introduced to battle royales that didn't exist before. Fortnite didn't have it. Nobody had it. Being able to communicate with somebody who's not on comms. Like when I drop solo and go into, matchmaking, I'm not doing comms. It's the internet. Everybody's gonna have like, oh, you're the shittiest player ever. Why'd you do this? Blah blah blah. It's not always gonna be that. I've run into some very positive people in this game when I forget to mute mics. Like sometimes like, oh, that was a great game. Good shot there. Blah blah. Like sometimes you don't want to talk to people, but the pinging system makes everything great. Let's go here. There's an enemy over there. Somebody was here because this thing's open. Like I'm defending here. I'm attacking here. That ping system is fantastic. But yes, when you get that communication with either randos or people you're playing with, your squad mates, it's so much fun. And I think I've talked about this with Overwatch before. Like when you play Overwatch with people, man, that game is fun. When you play Among Us with people man, that game is fun. It's the same thing, everything. If you play games with people it just adds to the experience. It makes it that much better. And yeah, that communication aspect, as long as, cooler heads prevail, don't be getting down everybody's throats like I don't think we will ever do. But like it's a fun. It's a more engaging experience. Not that you're trying to be like MLG Pro and like go for the win all the time, but it makes it more engaging, makes it more fun, makes you more invested. It's a blast. And like the characters in this game, they're all unique. They have different play styles in a way and different abilities. So it's fun to kind of learn what works, what doesn't work, and how those compositions kind of work together. Like, oh, you have this ability. Okay, let's do this thing. Let's hook around this way, or let's post up, or let's go forward, let's attack. Let's use that all there, kind of block them. Like it's fun playing with other players. And yeah, it boosts everybody, because if at least us, we're smart, or we try and plan out our drops where we're not going to get immediately killed like some random matchmaking does, and you can actually play the game. Like, no, I don't want to sit here and watch the game load more than I played just because we dropped at the hottest spot possible. Like, No, let's play the game because we want to play the game. Once again, I don't have to win every match, but let's try. So sometimes with randos, that does not work. But yeah, it's been a blast playing with you guys as well. Papa Griffin, Wizrobe, and Pancake. Hopefully we'll get a session in it sometime, in Acario as well. I know he's a little bit more competitive with it, and I hope he's doing well in the competitive scene, but it's been a blast playing with everybody. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to more. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun playing that game, and can't wait to do more. All right, everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. I appreciate you guys hanging out and chatting with me today. If you guys want to catch the podcast live, remember you can always go to twitch.tv/Enigma9011, where we host it live at 8 p.m. Eastern every other Saturday. You can join in the chat. If you're a sub, you can join in and talk with us. We'd love to have you guys talking all these topics with us. We appreciate your support and your input. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and SoundCloud, where it's put out topic by topic, and has been one big video and MP3 the following Friday. And remember, guys, last thing, #ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. You can rep the brand. Support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Chat, viewers, listeners, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let me gush about these topics and chat with you guys about them. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you guys